The Ukumarí Biopark in the city of Pereira is a place that has 44.5 hectares of forest, and in these 44.5 hectares of tropical dry forest, 20 hectares have been developed to dedicate them to all those who have to do with the conservation of wetlands and the conservation of the tropical dry forest. It is a wonderful place that has a large number of species of birds, mammals, reptiles, insects. It is a biodiversity refuge, and the other 20 hectares we are here developing a whole project of bio regions, both national and international, in order to promote awareness to visitors of the biodiversity conservation. In Ukumarí Biopark, we also advance animal training programs in our group of chimpanzees. We have a male and 2 females living together, and we have another male named Yoko, who are currently separated, living in different habitats, because we are in a process of resocialization, where we want this male to be part of our core group. The history of chimpanzees is a long story, of years, of dreams. Many years ago, before the creation of the Bioparque Ukumari, I was at the Matacana Zoo, and I knew about the existence of several chimpanzees in different places in Colombia, and I dreamed that all the chimpanzees would unite in one group and be in one place. Because of the things of life in the Bioparque Ukumari, this union of these chimpanzees began, where we obviously managed to bring Panchito and the 2 chimpanzees, and we put them together. It was not easy at first that Panchito and the 2 chimpanzees could make a good team, really, because the male is a dominant male, very strong, and is a young male. They are already very adult chimpanzees, over 40 years old, but the 2 began to become very good friends. Carla and Chita became very good friends, with a very good relationship, and then came Panchito, not easy, with a very dominant personality, but managed to make a very good group between the 3 of them. Then we received another chimpanzee, which was a chimpanzee named Yoko. This chimpanzee is really with a life a little complex, since he was raised with humans since he was a child. They put branded clothes on him. He was with a person in the car. In fact, in the city of Pereira, he watched television. He was like a human, let's say so, and with a very high imprint. In fact, they found him and seized him via Venezuela. They were going to take him out of the country, and he was seized and taken to another place where he was there in a cage, and from there they made the decision to bring him to Ukumarí Biopark, so that he would join a group of chimpanzees, which was not easy. In fact, so far we are still achieving this union, because when we brought him, oh, surprise. Well, besides, the chimpanzee had alopecia. His teeth were not in good shape, and he had a diet very associated with sweets. We started to make the changes that the team did, but the male, Pancho, did not receive it too, because the behavior of Yoko, that's the name of the chimpanzee, his behavior is that of an animal with a very passive entity, that at all times is looking to be petted, a very humanized animal. An animal very close to human beings, and in fact we began to notice how it hit him. We decided not to keep him anymore, but the females did pay attention to him. But he didn't relate with the females either. Chimpanzees for him are not like his companions. We started to study him a little bit. That's why we decided to put a TV in his night area, because he likes to watch TV. We put paintings on him. We put him in a hammock, and we started to give him a lot of these things so that he would be fine. But at the same time we started to work on unlearning these human activities and turning them back into chimpanzees so that he could regroup with this group. With all the issue that has not been easy, so we decided to contact a foundation in Africa, TvAgro, which is a foundation that protects and rehabilitates chimpanzees in Africa. Has many chimpanzees. We decided to talk to them to help us to work with this chimpanzee, to return him as a chimpanzee. Then also with the CES. In Antioquia with the university, we are working with a student there where we are observing the behavior and that made us to make another area to this area. And this way he will be connected with the other chimpanzees and they will be seeing each other all the time, and this way they can become friends again, because we need him to behave like a chimpanzee, to show his dominant attitude, and this way they can live together, because chimpanzees are groups. Some of them will be the dominant one in the group, but the idea is that they can live together. They can groom each other, that he can do that with chimpanzees, and that's what we're working on, and I think it's a very nice activity that we're doing. In fact, that is why we are having this divided area, because sometimes people do not understand when they see a chimpanzee, they just say, "Oh, poor thing, it is sad," and they imagine a story that is not, because really look at the whole story we are telling, that what we are looking for is welfare, because that chimpanzee could not be returned. For example, the foundation, I say, "Oh, send them to Africa." Because in Africa they are not going to return to their natural environment, they could not survive there, they are animals of more than 40 years of age. What they are going to do is that they are going to stay here living in a group and living in their natural environment, and strengthening their animal welfare. Chimpanzees are the most intelligent animals we have. With them behaviors can be a little more complex. The training we do with chimpanzees is basically to cover two aspects or two needs. The medical needs, and we are doing training like the one you could see that is for blood sampling. We urgently need those samples and we actively train in to be able to obtain them. Ready, let's open. Hand, come on. Poncho, come on, Poncho, hand. There is a safe working structure, which is the training panel, that allows me to have contact with the animal, but always maintaining that distance and with barriers that will be that the animal never has access to a part of my body and can injure me.
Dedo.
For example, Poncho the male puts his hand in that metal sleeve. I can work in this area where we disinfect. Then we shave that area. We start looking for the vein, and once the vein is found, we simulate with an element other than a needle, a strong puncture. Then also the subsequent cleaning of the area, and we finish with an excellent reinforcer. Basically, that is what you do here.
Aquí está.
Here we have a vein. Vein is a place where we would start desensitization with a needle to be able to have the blood sample, Poncho, which is super important for your health care. These areas are designed so that we can do these trainings, but above all to be safe. Remember that these animals that have the strength of more than 5 men could injure us. We always do it under protected contact, which are those panels that we could see. With this stick that simulates the needle, you are going to hit it on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm doing it hard. Alright, perfect. I go out. And as we are doing the simulation, it simulates also final asepsis. Perfect. The evolution of the animals since we started the training has been very satisfactory. We have even noticed how between Yoko the new male and our male Poncho some very favorable behaviors have developed. Poncho has a mania for putting elements in his ears, scratching like many humans have that mania. What happens sometimes is that he gets injured. What we are going to do is a behavior to be able to put this medicine in one of his ears. In the case of Poncho, for example, we are working on some ear pains that have been very recurrent in the last week. We are training to be able to give him ear drops, and so on. Poncho, look at me, ear, 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 come on. Ear, ear, ear. The other training we do, it's a necessity. For example, if they have an injury or something else, we train quickly to be able to take care of it. That's very good. The other trainings we do are mainly cooperative trainings. We work with the individual that arrived new, with Poncho, with the females, and we try that those behaviors where they are being highly reinforced allow them to mate in the shortest time possible. Those are the edges of the training program with the chimpanzees. I ask a lot to the people who sometimes visit these sites or who sometimes see us, oh, but why do the bioparks exist? The zoos? You have to understand that we do not capture animals, we do not take animals out of the environment, we will not do it, never. We are passionate, we love animals, we help animals that cannot be returned to their natural environment, to live in places like these, which are so beautiful, and with a professional team of veterinarians, biologists, zoo technicians, a great team of caretakers who protect the animals every day and give them a second chance. So it is important that everyone understands the mission and responsibility of these places, that the only thing they do is to help protect the animals. Chimpanzees as such are one of the most impressive animals that we will be able to see, and in the biopark what we want is that people who come to our biopark understand that these animals are the emissaries of the population that is still in Africa, and that what we have to think is that many times, our consumerist cultures what they do is not favor these animals. Remember that there are a lot of minerals related, for example with cell phones, that our habit of wanting to change that cell phone every year, even several times a year, what is doing is that these animals lose their natural habitat, because in search of these special minerals are those that make certain equipment. That demand, what it does is to cause a very important detriment, not only in chimpanzees, but also in mountain gorillas and many other animals. Every time people visit us here in an Ukumari, we not only tell them that these animals are very intelligent, that genetically we are almost nothing apart from them, that they are very skilled, that they have manual skills, cognitive skills, but we also tell them something that is very important for them. But we also tell them something that sometimes they do not know, and that is that in the conservation of these animals, depends on changing our consumer habits. Many times, we do not have to change the cell phone 4 times a year, the computer twice. We must understand that all the small actions that we have here in Colombia have an implication and a result in Africa, where they live these important animals.